Hey there, hi there, ho there. Namo MyoHoRenGe. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your practice. I made mention in a recent video about we constantly have this dialogue this information we're reading a lot about in the Daimoku of the Lotus, or the profound meaning of the Daimoku. Recently, I just did a video trying to correct the distribution problems of this book. Anyway, I'll let you watch that video. I don't want to go into that again. It's too frustrating. Anyway, there's a lot of discussion. You've heard it repeatedly over the years. You read it constantly about the definitions of MyoHoRenGe Kyo, right? We've certainly been focusing on that recently in this book, in the Goshos that Nichiren wrote specifically to address these questions. We're in the midst of one right now, and it really is analytical and taking it apart. And the one thing that comes out of our study is that the more you read, the more letters about it, the more other references from either Chinese stories or previous scholars like Tendai or Dengyo or Miaolo or Shakyamuni himself, quotations from, this is Nichiren, right? He's a scholar, and he inculcates all of these different sources to obviate, to help us understand the concepts of the Daimoku, the practice, Namu MyoHoRenGe Kyo, right? And then the question might come up, I know it did for me earlier on, well, why does he say over here that Myo means this? And then I read a year later, and Myo means something totally different, something else. What's going on? What does it mean? And that got me early on onto a pattern of searching out and studying for myself, not just taking someone's word for it, right? Follow the law, not the person. I took that to heart. And what I discovered is that it may seem like all of these definitions mean different things, but the truth is that they're all just linguistic attempts at saying the same thing. And then I thought, well, what is that same thing? Now, my background is I live a duality within my duality. I've been a fine artist, an architect, a renderer, drawing. Everything I do mixes the technical, my scientific, my love for scientific investigation, questioning. That's just my nature, right? Not that I doubt everything, but I want to know for myself at the fundamental level. Okay, what are we talking about here? That's my mental engine, right? So I like getting information from other people because it's other perspectives that help to expand my own. But I don't take what I hear as the ultimate. I have to inculcate that information into a larger database, right? Identification database, warehouse. Yeah, I'm a human. That's what I do. But I do it in a form of discovery that I can convince myself, yes, now at this depth, I know this. That's how I work. At the same time, I'm an artist. I like fluidity. I like beauty, whatever that is. I like things that aren't just singular things, but that present an aspect of thingness. So Buddhism is wonderfully suited for me because I don't take anything at face value. I take things at their representation. And so the engine of life, happening moment to moment, suits me perfectly. Because I look at everything as just a wave, of a signpost of a direction of beingness, right? Oh, there is a ladder. Not that ladder, not that is a ladder. I mean, that might be the language, but I see the ladder as an opportunity to climb, to reach things that I wouldn't normally be able to with this limited frame. I see it for the tooling that it represents, the possibilities it presents. You see what I'm saying? So, I'm looking at MyoHoRenGe, I'm looking at all this scholarship about it, everything Nichiren says about it, and I'm thinking, how does that relate to me as a modern man in lieu of all the different perspectives of teachings that I've studied, whether in martial arts, Qigong, the bioelectric energy of life, right? And there are certain concepts that resonate from other schools of thought that are all trying to grapple with this potential, this energy, this EMC squared. That's too simplified of an equation, but you know it. How does energy equate to matter? And remember, equals goes both ways. How does matter equate to energy? The only other factor in that equation is speed, or what is another way of thinking about speed? Time. How do you represent speed? Time. How much time does it take? How much time is created? Without time, there's no speed. Speed, or a speed limit, like I hope you know by now, the speed of light isn't about light at all. It's just about the speed of transactions. How does something occur? And not really end all be all, how does something occur, but what's our limitation of understanding the speed of causality? Well, we know as Buddhists, it's instant. There's no time. There's no speed. But try to say that to a physicist and their mind explodes. Because we think in terms of time. That's what we are. We are instantiations of time. Whoa, wait a minute. I need to look at this all over again, right? So anyway, you want to see some scribblings and my thoughts on this. This is something I was doing yesterday, thinking about it. Trying to equate myo, right, is a representation of quiescent energy. It's not nothing. Let me turn the mic. I know the sound gets really messed up. Okay, now you can hear me better. So, myo isn't nothing. There's no such thing as nothing, but there is no thing. There is energy in a form that is easier to understand as potential. Potential, there's nomina. There's not phenomena, there's nomina. There is no thing. But there is potential for thing, for everything, right? In Qigong, I learned a term called Wu-Ji. That's from ancient Chinese practices and study. And Wu-Ji's definition, according to my master at the time, Mr. Ming, is a non-place of no extremity. It can be represented as a point or as a circle. And I have in my little, my terrible little sketch here, I have all these spokes. They're kind of like arrows. Because what Wu Ji is saying, and oh God, this is terrible drawing. I'm sorry, my nerve. If I draw a point or make a point there, what you have to understand is a point isn't a thing. It's not three-dimensional. It's not two-dimensional. It's not even one-dimensional. A point is just a location, a potential. And that potential when it begins to instantiate something, expresses some aspect of potential, it explodes in all directions. A lot like the universe, yeah? What happens in this circle, this representation of Wu-Ji, this representation of Myo, quiescent energy, is there happens formation. We talk about formation all the time. Shakyamuni used to say, if you want to cease suffering, right, the Four Noble Truths, you need to cease the formations of what? The cravings. The cravings come from Ho. So you have Wu-Ji, and then the symbol for Tai-Ji, which is this evolving energy amalgamating into formation, right? Energy plus action, karma, right? That's what we're creating here, is karma, begets form. It looks like foam, but it's form. Sorry. Right? Form. And what is form? We have the yin and the yang with the whole and the solid interplaying all the time, right? I think Bruce Lee added a couple of arrows to this just to indicate that this is a constantly roiling thing. And I've got my my mic in front of it. Sorry about that. Here. Now you can see it, right? Okay, so that you can hear me, I'll move that back over here. All right, so I need to work on this setup, obviously. So what we have is from potential, Myo, formations, energy plus action, lead to manifestation, or the word I like to use, an expression of potential through an engine of formation gives us Ho, instantiation, manifestation. MyoHo. This process is renge. Does that make sense now? From potential through formation and expression, that is renge. Understand, and that's the E equals MC squared thing. We don't need to get into that. Does that make sense? Does that help? The whole point, get back to my other camera here. All right, so the whole point of Daimoku is to not only to understand that concept, but to witness it moment to moment, to be in renge, to understand that every single moment of life, now, birth, is this process. Potential forming and instantiate, expressing itself each and every moment. I think it's important to understand how this engine of life works. Because if you begin to understand that this is how life works, I always turn the phone off, but this morning has been unusual. Sorry about that. Let me turn that off. Airport. Sorry. The importance of understanding renge is that when we chant Namo MyoHoRenGe Kyo, we understand that we are observing, witnessing, have the opportunity to witness that this is an active process happening constantly. And if that's the case, we can imbibe it. We can, I know that's for alcohol, but I mean, we can literally invoke it and embrace it and be it, see our life and the world that we are in moment to moment as this expression of potential. And knowing that, we can do anything. Our confidence becomes immeasurable. Our understanding of the expressions happening around us, vastly different. We no longer take things as they are, because they're not. They're a process. They're expressing ladder. They're expressing Bob. They're expressing my lover, my mother, my sibling, my friend, my workmate, my building. It's an expression constantly being repeated, and in that repetition, it can be influenced. It can be influenced into an obstacle. It can be influenced into a springboard for life, for opportunity, for love. When everything in our lives becomes an opportunity to express the most life-affirming, beautiful experience, then what obstacles could there be? This is our goal of Buddha-ness. Not only for ourselves, but obviously because we are not a hermetically separate thing, that's the delusion, with our enlightenment, with our beatific experience of life, we can lift the expression of potential occurring around us. Bodhisattva. We can influence others toward this amazing, unobstructed, full expression of life-affirming potential. Everything has it. We are of that engine. But that engine, it's very democratic. If you have actions and energy that amount to an obstacle, something not life-affirming, it's going to express itself too. That's where our compassion comes from. We can watch it like a child tripping and falling on the front lawn because they haven't learned to lift their feet just right, or account for differences in elevation, or their little feet just aren't doing perfectly what they ought to do. And we want to run out and pick the child up. It's okay, right? That's life. But as the child grows in its awareness, its abilities to focus and bring into a more life-affirming way to walk, jog, move, it's not such a constant concern mentally, but it's an inculcated, learned behavior, right? So that's what Buddhism is about. The more we enlighten our mind's perceptive capacity to see everything as an expression of potential, we can inculcate the best possible expression of potential in our lives, moment to moment to moment. This is the amazing coalescing of Shakyamuni's teachings into a very, very simple method of invocation called the Daimoku, the MyoHoRenGe, which is itself the teaching, the ultimate teaching of self-realization. The Lotus Sutra, the MyoHoRenGe, That's what it is. And we are its expression. So by invoking it, this is a very tight circle now. Our energy becomes influenced by our causal mind, karmically shifting to enlightenment rather than just simply expressing anything, our freight train of karma. We now birth every moment into the karma of Buddha-ness, full awareness. What could be more powerful than that? So, that's a brief one about a contemporary, if you will, discussion on the Daimoku. I hope you find it useful. Please like and subscribe. We'll talk more about it, and I'll get back into the Go Show about this very subject, and we'll read some more, okay? Take care of yourself, take care of your life and those around you. Be kind. And I'll see you in that very next video. Bye for now.